107 BTC on this Memorial Day weekend, and do they have some more dumpage in store for us? So guys, we're looking at some potential short-term reversals on some of these alts, but I've got you covered for some big levels slightly lower down, which I think could easily come into play on this long weekend that we have. I've also got a special guest here today bringing you a short and a long setup. We got so much to talk about here on a Sunday, I think. Let's get right into it. And remember, guys, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, and hit the subscribe. I just had some boomer vibes there, but we're all good. Okay, we're cooking now. James is in the house. Hello. Happy long weekend, I guess. Memorial Day. He's going to tell you about a memorial special that we've got for you guys in Chart Hackers just now. Okay, so make sure you are sticking around. He's basically giving you free shit. And look who's here. Look who's here. The man, he got his first show on Thursday last week, giving some banger setups, and he's back for some more. And we're talking a long and we're talking a short. So, hello, Captain. Proper DJ. There he is. Look, he's ready to go. He's fucking ready to go. Oh, and Maruk says the intro is looking sick. I'm loving this intro, Maruk. So good, we just hit it twice. Okay, Banter Bubbles, pretty red. Okay, it's been a bit of a miserable weekend. Anybody trying to catch some longs has been a little bit miserable. We did live trading yesterday. We jumped into a couple of scalp longs, which actually got stopped out. But that mask short, my God, that mask short printed all the way down. Let me know in the chat, did you guys get some of those mask shorts? We're going to be covering some of those as well. And Licky Holiday says Spencer. Well, let's put the brakes on the lickies first. Okay, we're going to talk about a whale that took the lickies, and he might be taking the lickies again. So it's going to be very interesting over the next couple of days. So here we are, BTC on the 2 hour, and we're trying to keep it as simple as possible here. I'm tracking all the ping pong zones that you guys need to be aware of leading into tomorrow, and perhaps even late tomorrow before my next show. So right now we're just going to focus on a couple of key levels. You can see what's happened with BTC this weekend. We've dropped down and we're at a critical level now where some guys are going to say, okay, double bottom in play here, and others are going to say, oh no, we're super bearish and we're going to start losing some trends. So right now it's up to the crypto gods, but obviously, you know, we use the tools we have, we use the information that we have in front of us, and we can see they are trying to reverse this thing a little bit here at the moment on the 2 hour. So we're just looking for some kind of bullish divergence print again. Maybe we'll get a second one, we'll get a spider web here, and then we might get a push higher. So while we wait for that reversal print on the oscillator, we're going to watch some key levels. First one is 106,800. That is this current zone that we find ourselves in at the moment. If they do dip us lower, all it's going to do is add to my bullish divergence, and we're looking at 105,800 down to 104,800. So that's a very nice zone. This whole box for me makes a lot of sense, and I would say by this zone we are going to get a 4 hour reversal print as well. So then things could be teeing up for some kind of slingshot long there for us on BTC. So if we do dip a little bit lower, just be patient and hang on, because some of these alts I'm going to show you today, I've prepped current levels and I've prepped some absolute banging levels a little bit lower down, that if we drop into 105 for BTC, we're probably going to get some proper bangers on these altcoins. So make sure you guys are ready and locked and loaded. Okay, so bounce zone right now, here we are on BTC and some of these alts. Then if we do push higher, what are we looking at? 108,600. That is danger zone number one. Why is this interesting? 382, we've got our VWAP, we've got our horizontal undercarriage. So we can lock that in. 108,600 makes a lot of sense to me. Then pushing higher, 109,900, also an absolute banger. And then 110 up here is a very special zone. Okay, it's a very, very special zone, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, that whale that we were talking about the other day, he's now short. Okay, so this guy basically went and he was long BTC like a billy or something like that. Crypto whale James Wynn. Okay, he closed it at a loss. What did he do? He closed at a $10 million loss after being at a $40 million profit at some point. It feels like my soul trade that I took lickies on. I was like $12,000 up, and they came and they rinsed me over the last couple of hours. So he's taken the knock, $10 million loss, and now he's flipped short. But has he flipped short on a bounce zone? Has he flipped short on support here? Is this going to get a little bit spicy? And if you zoom in, his lickies is 110,000 500. Now, isn't that amazing that his lickies is exactly at our zone where we're going to look for shorts on BTC? So if we do get a pump into that zone, this is exactly where we're going to try and grab a couple of shorts here and send this one a little bit lower down in case we do get some kind of pump. So definitely something interesting to look forward to over the next couple of days. It's going to be like a soap opera watching the show here. But guys, that is what we're playing in right now. The next 24 hours, that's me for BTC. And we're going to try and react accordingly to these zones. So I have jumped in a couple of longs, scalp longs at the moment, and we're going to take you through a lot of those during the course of this. Okay, let's talk some lickies here out the gates. And Matty took the L on Sol. Matty, I swear, I think that last drop was the lickies for me. I think they lickied me at the bottom there on Sol. So we're going to talk about Sol, don't worry. And in terms of the last 24 hours, I actually would have expected more, but possibly because this is a slow bleed out at the moment. We're $240 million in lickies at the moment. So look, Powell is talking in the next hour. We're going to cover that as well. But basically, this is what happens, guys. You know, when BTC takes a little bit of heat, remember, if you're trading these altcoins for the upside, you need to understand, you got to take the pain on the downside as well. And this is a typical drop this weekend. Look at that guy. Oh, there he goes. There we go. It was Peppy on support there. Oof. And getting rinsed there all the way down. Okay, so it happens. If you want to ride the upside, go for it. But remember, the big dog is always BTC, and we always look at it lovingly and caringly. At the end of the day, that is home for us, isn't it? And it's a vibe. Okay, so 𝗏𝗏𝗟𝗏 says Fed Chair Powell will give another speech today at 8:40. Now, we don't know exactly what he's talking about. James says it's an orange flag. Or what is this thing?
8:40. Rover's off as usual. It's 2:40 p.m.
Oh, 2:40
Standard Time. Okay. Yeah.
2:40 p.m. Okay, so ignore that. Okay, he's talking, and it's. Do we know what it's about?
No, it's at a university, and it's an orange folder, not a red folder. They rate these things as to how important they are, but he says one wrong thing there, right, and gets questioned about the economy or tariffs get brought up or whatever. I think it could be a red folder. We'll have to see. I'm hoping it doesn't have a whole lot of weight.
Could be a lickies folder. Okay, could be a lickies folder. Let's talk the S&P and what is going down here. This is the great Martis, and I've actually been following this guy for years, and I always found his stuff interesting. But he says a tariff resolution may push the index toward previous highs. However, Trump's threats of 50% tariffs in the EU, 25 on Apple, suggest a high probability of a major sell-off. Okay, next few weeks shall be telling. Okay, and he's just dropped a pretty bearish S&P chart over here. Okay, he's showing the rejection, and he wants to close that gap we've been talking about, and then he wants to potentially send us basically to hell, and basically straight to Mickey D's. Okay, I see Jason's in the house. Jason, why are you still awake, bro? Are you mad? I mean, this guy doesn't sleep. It must be late.
Really late, yeah.
Okay, let's talk my version of the S&P. Well, you can see we've got this little gap here. So we are looking at a possible gap fill and a little bounce here in this region. And we could see that during the course of the week. Remember, the market is closed tomorrow. The US market is closed tomorrow. So the futures will dance around, but the actual S&P is closed. So we're going to watch this 5,650. And you can see right now, this 200-day MA is coming into play. And the guys love a bit of a 200-day MA. So just a little tip, when anything's falling over or anything's pumping, even on the stock markets and the S&P, you can always at least have a crack at that 200-day for a short or for a long when you push into those zones. And you can see they put the brakes on there on that 200-day MA. So it remains to be seen how they're going to play it. But overall, looks like we might want to come a little bit lower. Now, there's a big day ahead coming for NVIDIA on Wednesday. We've got earnings, and TrendSpider says over the last 2 quarters, earnings per share is up, stock price is down. Do we bridge the gap with NVIDIA? So this is going to be an interesting one to watch. And for me personally, what I'm looking for is either a dump into earnings or a pump into earnings. If we get a pump into earnings, I'm a little bit excited that we are going to get a short opportunity here on NVIDIA. So if we push this week into that zone, into Wednesday, I'm going to look for a short here on BTCC. So anything up to about 144 down to, say, 140, anywhere in that zone Could be a fun scalp short zone there on NVIDIA. And all we're going to do is try and bring it back down to the 200 and down to the 50. Okay, so our target's going to be 125 and 115. So just make sure you're watching the show this week so you know if I'm going to pull the trigger or not on that one. Okay, so NVIDIA could be some fun around the corner. And then in terms of my current BTCC situation, I've got Microsoft short still, and you can see it finally started rolling over a little bit last week. I filled 2 orders. I've got 1 more order sitting up there at 464, and just looking to plug that one, and then hopefully just enjoy the ride down. You can see our oscillators are turning bearish there. Things are looking a little bit sad still for Microsoft, but it's been a long journey. I mean, we've been in this for over a week, and I'm actually getting exhausted of talking about a Microsoft short. This thing must dump now or pump, okay? It's getting on my nerves, but we do want to fill this gap. So as long as we can push lower, anything for me, 424 down to 395 makes a lot of sense to me for a Microsoft short. So holding on tight to that. And then in terms of gold, well, this is going to be a massive marker for us during the course of the week, because gold is actually at a major resistance zone. And when we're at a major resistance zone for gold, we can typically look on many occasions, we can look for a bounce in crypto, we can look for a bounce in the stock market and those things if we get a gold rejection. Okay, so now we are at a typical gold rejection zone. So this is something to watch. We've had a super bullish run on gold. We've been talking about this thing for a hell of a long time now. We've ridden this thing up all the way into this rejection band. So this could be a nice indicator for us. 3370, that is the short zone. And those of you that were watching last week, you might have got that short entry there on gold. Okay, so that was teed up on the lower time frames there for you guys, and definitely going to be an interesting couple of days coming up. Obviously, if we get that move lower, we'll be careful at around 3,300. We got to watch that region there on gold, but right now it is at resistance. That could be something interesting for us. Slayer says, bang those likes. Guys, yes, obviously. Hit the likes, hit the bell, hit that subscribe thing. And obviously, Dave has got some action for you. And shall we tell them what we're doing? Okay, we're doing a giveaway for chart hackers. James, do you want to explain the situation?
Memorial Day special, 50% off your first month.
Okay, and it's for the first 20. Okay, the link is in the show description for you guys. So happy Memorial Day. If you're not part of Chart Hackers and you're wondering what it is and you've been thinking about it, your first month is 50% off the first 20. The link is in the show description, guys. Okay, so go into the show description there. Bang. Oh, look, there's James. James, you're on YouTube, bro. Okay, go into the show description, click on more, and you're going to find it here, second from the top. Okay, limited offer, the first 20. Okay, so it's fastest fingers first there, guys, that aren't part of Hackers. There you go. Okay, first month, happy Memorial Day. Okay, let's get into the higher time frame things. Now, in terms of BTC, guys, you can see on the daily, we are still holding our major daily level here. Okay, so things are not exactly in panic stations just yet. Okay, we just need to monitor these zones. And remember, the higher the time frame, the bigger the region. Okay, the bigger the support zone. And we don't have to get too precise, but you can see here zones of interest, anything down to say 106 makes sense to us in that region. And you will also be holding this trend. So if we do sort of mess around here, we obviously want to hold that type of region there on BTC. And then a little bit lower down, we've got our big levels here, 103 to 101. That makes tons of sense on this daily chart. And then the absolute banger here, this will be a capitulation zone for us that we got to watch, but it's 99 to 97. Wow, it's going to be messy though. Dave, are you long BTC at 99, bro? Are you going for it there?
I think that looks good. Yeah, psychological level as well.
You like the smell of it. Okay. I see Luke's in the house, bro. Welcome, Luke. Nice. Good to have you guys here. Okay. So Dave, you long at 99, eh? Okay, I think we'll lock that one in. Okay, let's get into some altcoins. Dave, stick around, bro. Stick around, hang around. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so BTC giving us a little bounce. Let's talk lickies quickly on the 1 week. So I just wanted to show you guys that 105 level that I spoke about. There is a lot of liquidity here to the downside. So let's not get blinkers on if the market starts pumping. Look at this juicy zone here at 105. Just remember, this is a possibility for us to the downside on BTC. So that 105, that big area that I'm telling you about, look at that nice tie in there in terms of that. Now, let's talk about some short-term longs that I'm in here before this thing runs away from us. Okay, we've grabbed some 𝗵𝗵𝗄 at the moment. There it is. You can see in front of me here. It's off a zone, so I'm jumped into some 𝗵𝗵𝗄 now. It's a little bit flat, and then we're going to get into detail about some of these. But I'm long Fartcoin right here, and I'm long Cardano right here as well. And these Fartcoin I've been building, throughout the day, waiting for some more orders to hit. They're just not hitting yet. But our Cardano was given to us by Chaos in Chart Hackers. So I'm going to show you that trade setup as well. And then I'm getting ready to take Dave's trade, okay? Because Dave's got a long for us ready to go. And I'm getting locked and loaded there. We're going to take it on 𝗏𝗏 as well. But now let's first talk about altcoins and also why we shouldn't get too excited. I know I show you guys this every day, so block your eyes if you've seen this before. But Ben Cowan basically sending us to hell on the altcoins. He says BTC pairs will bleed going into the summer, maybe a local low in June, that's going to hurt, then another low in late October, early November. Okay, so he's a little bit bearish at the moment in terms of where we're looking on alts versus BTC. And Dupes is just reminding us, what if there is no alt season this time? I mean, okay. Well, what we can do is talk about mini alt seasons. And for us on this show, a mini alt season lasts a day or two, okay? And that's pretty much the max that we allow these things to go. And one of these great guides for us is the 4-hour RSI heat map. This thing's been an absolute banger, giving us shorts, giving us longs. And funnily enough, if you look at that bottom left-hand corner, you can see an S there in the extremely oversold conditions. Dave, what is this S token? What is this thing?
It used to be something that we all known as Phantom.
Okay. And do you happen to have that chart, and are you potentially looking at a long there, asking for a friend?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, guys, if you're ready for that, you got to hit those likes, okay? In fact, do me a favor, guys. Do me a favor. Crypto Live is where we're going to be hosting some live content. You guys will remember I did a live show with Dupes the other day. It was an absolute banger, and we did some emergency live trading as well. What I need you to do for me in the meantime is go and subscribe to this Crypto Live channel. Okay, there it is. Let's bump up those numbers. Okay, 42,180. That is not sufficient for me. Okay, 42,180. Let's get those likes. Let's get those subscribes up on the Crypto Live channel. That is where you're going to see me appearing every now and again. I've already told Dupes we got to go for around 2. Okay, so go to Crypto Live and please subscribe there for me. And we're watching these numbers. Let's get these rookie numbers up. Okay, immediately. Okay, let's get into some altcoins and let's talk dominance. So, okay, obviously we can see the 4-hour RSI heat map. A lot of the stuff is getting heavily oversold. That tells me potentially some short-term bumps. Okay, it might not be big moves, but potentially there is some short-term moves, especially on things like S. Look at LRC, Loopring, my God. What else is there? Seller, ZRX, Portal, CFX, DYDX. I'm just reading a few that are heavily oversold. And then we've got a few that aren't quite ready, but look at Atom there. I know one of our Chart Hackers members was talking about some Atom earlier, and you're going to find a whole lot of tokens sitting in those zones. And that tells us we need to possibly sit up and start paying a little bit of attention. So in terms of dominance, you can see we are getting our rejection at the moment. Are we going to call this a fake out? I mean, is this thing going to start dropping a little bit now? So for me, if we do get this candle continuation here, then we will get the bounce that we want on these alts. If we do get dominance pumping up now into 64.7% today, that tells me we're going to hit next levels on these altcoins, and best you guys be ready. Okay, we're going to give you those charts. We're going to give you those setups. If we push into 64.7, be ready to push buttons, because that is possibly where we're going to get some nice longs on these altcoins. Okay, so right now would be nice, but let's be prepped for a little bit higher. And then in terms of USDT dominance as well, we are still busy with our bearish retest, but the sad thing is at the moment that's looking pretty bullish. Okay, I'm a little bit concerned about this. Okay, at the moment that's looking quite aggressive, and if this was a shit coin, I'd probably be laddering into some form of longs here. So we just need to put the alarm bells on here. Let's just watch what is going on. We can obviously get this little dip here first before anything happens, and that can turn short-term bearish, but we got to keep our eyes on this. So big resistance at the moment is 44.6. Let's watch 4.6. If we can stay below that, then we might get another push down into that region before they come for us again. Okay, so 𝗏𝗏𝗡's in the house as well. Okay, guys, there you go. That's that. Now, let's get into altcoins. Let's get into the business. And this was ETH, obviously, this week, really peak performance. This is what peak performance looks like on ETH. Okay, really just chopping around a little bit, doing its thing, getting us excited here. Get up, pump. No, fake out. Okay, lots of fake outs there on ETH at the moment. Yeah, not going well. And right now, we spoke about this. James, did you like that? we spoke about this last week, but ETH was basically printing us a little bit of McDonald's. Okay, it's a little bit of a concern here for me that we might get this push lower down into these types of levels. So I just want to highlight these levels. Paul, welcome, sir. I'm sure the guys are waiting for you in Hackers, and just say hi in the Hangouts chat there, and they'll show you around. Okay. Now, big levels for me on ETH, 2,400 to 2,330. That is big zone number one for me on ETH. And then in terms of the big zones lower down, the ones you need to look out for, if there is a market capitulation here, I've got an absolute banger. 2,200 for me on ETH is looking really juicy here in that zone. And then a little bit lower down, 2,050. That is an absolute long zone. Look at that thing. I've got the 50, I've got the 100, I've got the 0.5, I've got the horizontals. There's a lot talking to me here. By the time we get there, we'll have a full reset on this 8 hour. We'll probably be printing divergence, all these types of things. So something to look forward to if there is a little bit of misery. Remember, what can misery look like on an 8 hour or a 12 hour? It can easily look like this. Okay, excited, not so excited, excited, not so excited, excited, and then bang. Okay, that could look something like that. Remember, of all these zones, we can get offered short-term bounces. If we're dialing into 1 hour, 30 minutes, we will find that on these big zones, we can get these reactions. But the banger, the big one, 2,055 at the moment is starting to look like a big zone for me. Okay, Dave, 2,050 ETH long, you happy there?
I'll take it.
Should we go lower? Okay, Gabriel's telling us already that this S chart looks juicy. Now, before we get to S, let's talk SOL, because I took the lickies on that, and I really think I was the last sell there at the bottom for this current move. But in terms of SOL on the 3-day, let's be absolutely honest with ourselves. Okay, this was an original chart that I was talking about a few weeks back. We were tracking this for so long. And in terms of this, we were still bearish under that 200-day moving average. Is this still on the table for us? And unfortunately, now we've started printing reversals on the 3-day. Okay, so it's not a good start. We did this whole journey when we saw bullish divergence on the 3-day on altcoins. Now we are pushing higher. What comes next? So obviously, ideally, we'd like some divergence that will give us one more pump on SOL. But if this thing does start drifting lower, we need to be realistic with where this thing can go. And in terms of a major area for me on a 3-day chart, remember, we're zooming out now. On a 3-day chart, we're starting to look at 150 again. Okay, so that is becoming a realistic zone for us at the moment. So 150 on SOL on the 3-day is starting to look like a possibility. Okay, so there's our rejection. And you can see we might be, if Ben Cowan's thesis is going to play out, we could easily be in this situation. We pumped up, we pushed up, now we reject and we come back down, we hit 69, and we might even go lower. Okay, so that could be playing out. Let's just look at, let's face the reality. Let's not put bull goggles on when we don't need to. And that is essentially what could be playing out on SOL. Now, let's look at lower time frames. And let's talk about what I'm expecting in the next couple of days. So for me, SOL is going to have a short-term bounce at either one of these zones. Okay, obviously, these are my two preferred areas. So short-term bounce number one. I swear I was the last one there, 169. I swear. They took me out there. Okay, so short-term bounce zone number one is now 170. So if you're looking at SOL, your stop can be a candle close under this 169 there. 169, close under that, and you're probably going lower. So in terms of what we could see on SOL, maybe just a short-term push up and then some kind of roll over, okay? Then in terms of the next big bounce zone for me, anything down to say 164. So 166 to 164 could offer us another potential bounce there on SOL. And by the time that happens, I would expect some kind of divergence here on that 2 hour. We'll be getting tons of reversal prints there. And then on the 4 hour, this is an interesting one for us as well. We really want this 4 hour to start playing ball. And you can see we're getting the 4 hour on a lot of these tokens. They're starting to bottom out, but we're not getting the reversal prints yet. We're not getting divergences, but we know it's close. And when we see a 4-hour like this, sometimes it needs to just capitulate one more time, and that might be this dip into 164, 166 for Sol. Okay, so just be prepped for both scenarios here. If you are having a go, what you can do is scalp it right now in this current zone, stop under 169. If there is momentum, add a little bit, do those things. And if you are waiting, well, 166 to 164 makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, you'd swear the market waits for me to long and then dumps. Yeah, I mean, that's typical, isn't it? And Kay says, bear moon coming. We're going up tomorrow after market opening. That could be fun. Okay, so hopefully it's going to be one of these short-term levels here. Now, remember, short-term bounce versus long-term. And I just want to show you this picture as well. This is 𝗵𝗵, and this can just be a alt example for you guys. What I'm showing you here is the reason why I'm saying maybe a short-term long, but we are still a little bit bearish on the higher time frames, and that might tie into Ben Cowan and what he has to say as well. Because if you look at 𝗵𝗵 here on the daily, we have printed a blue dot reversal. We've printed bearish divergence here. So this thing is looking a little bit heavy on the higher time frame. And when we see these types of things on the higher time frame, what typically happens is you might see a situation like this, drop into the zone, then a lower high, and then they just come and they bring it down. Okay, in this whole sort of process, you'll see the same on ETH and all those things after that major rejection. So just a little bit of a warning sign here. And this also tells us, you know, maybe let's not hang on to our longs as hard as we should. For example, my 𝗏𝗏𝗟𝗏𝗏 round trip, $12,000, Dave. I did a $12,000 round trip on Sol this weekend. Very chuffed with that. Another lesson in the learning bank. And looking potentially, let's not hang on to our longs too long. Okay, now let's go 𝗵𝗵 here at the moment. And this is that one I've just jumped into. And you can see I've prepped 2 levels for you. I am expecting a bounce on 𝗵𝗵 either here or at the next zone. Okay, so I've had a go in this current level. And for me, it's anything down to 125 up to about 128. That box for me makes a lot of sense here on 𝗵𝗵. And all you want to do is ride this thing up to the order blocks, or that POC that you can see there on my screen. And that is going to be about 139 to about 141 as a potential first zone of interest there. Okay, so possible short-term bounce here. And that would look like this. Let's just take a look at the size of the stock. And you're looking at about 2.5% risk, and your upside maybe about an 8 or 9% move there on 𝗵𝗵. Now, if they do come a little bit lower and they want to push you and put you under pressure, what you can do is obviously cut that position, or you can hold on to it. But remember, it's quite a long way down. You're going to put yourself under pressure. The next big zone for me for the long is going to be from 121 down to 120. Okay, 121 down to 120 makes sense to me then on 𝗵𝗵 if we start losing levels. Okay, so something along those lines. Just be ready for those. Paul, I've got Altcoin. My hot zone indicator was spitting. Basically, what do we call those things? Eggplants at me. Okay. before we get Altcoin, let's talk to Dave. And I've also got Brett. You see, Brett's in a bounce zone. Okay, Brett's in a bounce zone. Okay, Dave, give me something. Give me something good.
Yeah, let's do it. Can you guys see my screen?
I can indeed.
All right. Well, guys, on the little premiere that I had there on the Crypto Banter Plus channel, gave you guys a Sonic short setup, and just to kind of take you through it, we had a loss of trend, had the back test, and this is where I told you guys to short it. Now we're coming into a long zone, right? So, you know, one of the cool things that we saw, Dylan showed you guys the RSI heat maps. It's typically a great indicator, and it's been chilling there at the lows for a little bit of time. And what I have here is I have a fib. So let's start with a fib. I've got a fib pulled from the low of the 8th of April to the current high. And, you know, 618s are great, but 786s are a lot nicer. We also have a fixed range pull here. So you can see I've got a fixed range pull. We have value area low tying in with the 786. And then we have a rising trend here. Okay, so I just took the trade. I don't think it's going to go too much lower unless Bitcoin starts to capitulate, right? So if you see price action start to lose this level here, that's a great indicator to get the heck out of the position. So let's dial in here. Let me show you guys what's going on. First and foremost, we have a lot of divergences and blue reversal dots showing on the shorter time frames. That's typically what I like to look for when it comes to shorter time frames for the execution part of the trade. So you can see on the 15-minute time frame, we've got some spider webs going on, blue reversal dot, 30-minute time frame as well. But you know, I think this is definitely going to reverse at this level. I do believe we have, you know, looking at the RSIs, they're just really, really low here, guys. So I did enter the trade not too long ago. And, you know, if Asia opens up, again, we have the Memorial weekend here with the United States, so they are closed. I'm kind of anticipating some kind of pump here for the open. But, you know, we can anticipate maybe another 3 or 4%, or probably like a 3% drawdown here. I don't think it's going to be too severe. I mean, we've already been, you know, we've already taken quite a bit of a hit here. From the highs of Friday, we've already dropped 20%. So, yeah, nice little pullback there. Now, look, how will our take profit zones look here? So what I've done is I've taken a fib from the high to the low. And so the first area of interest for me is this 382, right? So I've also made my font a lot bigger and the lines bigger. So hopefully you guys can see it better on your end. But in case you guys can't see that, I'll read it off to you guys. TP1, I'm looking for 0.4726. It's going to tie in right with an anchored VWAP here. So I've got an anchored VWAP drop from the highs where that rejection started. It's this little blue line here. You can kind of see it creeping in here, right? So we might just see a bounce to TP1 in a round trip, right? That is a possibility. So make sure you guys take your profits at TP1. And then TP2 is going to give us that 618 retracement or hacker zone retracement. And that also ties in with this 50-day MA creeping up here as well. So it might be a 50-day MA rejection at TP2. We also have a bearish order block kind of creeping in here at 0.51. So TP2 is 0.49. All right. So entry is now all the way down to, I would say, 0.42. So when you read that level off to you guys again, 0.42 to price action now to 0.43, 0.44, right? Low leverage. I'm using a little bit higher leverage just because I think we're at the bottom here. But, you know, use proper risk management. Anything could happen. Just be aware that we could dip down to this value area low at 0.4255, which is an adding opportunity, in my opinion. So,
okay, bro, I'm going to load up this. I'm going to take this trade. I was going to take it on 𝗏𝗏, but it's not on 𝗏𝗏 at the moment. So I'm probably going to just take this one on CoinEx. I just want to see if it's on CoinEx as well.
It is on 𝗏𝗏. I took it on 𝗏𝗏. You have to search through it because if you type in S, there's a bunch of, it's like the 7th one down. If you're doing it,
it's not on mine. It's not on mine.
Yeah, type in SUSDT.
Oh, got it. Oh my God, you got to click the arrow. Wow. Okay. I'm going to take this thing on 𝗏𝗏 right now. Okay. Will you read me the numbers? Okay. Let's move your screen. I'm going to add mine. Okay. So I'm going to go. What are we doing? 10x here.
Yeah, I went 10x. Not financial advice.
Okay, so 10x, and how big are we going here?
I went kind of like mid-size here, so I'm not like full sending it.
$200,000? How much? What's mid?
$200,000. I mean, I put
that's
like
good, bro. 15K. What must I do? Talk to me, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, if we do get a little bit of a dip, like if Asia gives us this fake move down, I think, you know, that's just them trying to get some good entries, and we'll have some green action. I'm anticipating some green action at least during the holidays, and then maybe U.S. market comes in and just completely dumps us. So,
okay. So I'm long here. Where's my stop? Where do you want it?
I think final stops, guys, should be 0.4154. Candle close below that.
Okay.
4-hour candle close below 0.4154. GTFO.
Listen to what Dave is saying. He's saying candle close below. Okay, so remember that carefully, guys. If you are awake and you're able to monitor your trade, then you want to watch this area. Okay, so I'm actually going to move it a little bit lower than that in case there's a wick there. Now, remember, candle close is very important because sometimes they come and they do stop hunts. Okay, and what is a stop hunt? Well, they'll come close to your stop here like that, and then they'll just go bang and they take it, and then they send the price back up. So that's why it's important, the phrasing here, candle close. So if you are able to watch it live, watch for that candle close. That is your ideal situation. Okay, so Dave, I'm long Sonic here. I'm long Cardano. I'm long Fartcoin. Okay, so that is what I've got cooking at the moment on 𝗏𝗏. Now, Dave's got another short setup. for you guys coming in. But I just want to talk you through a couple more setups that I've got going on here at the moment. Anything more you want to say on Sonic, bro?
Yeah, no, look, I know a lot of you guys with the holidays coming into play, you know, especially those of you guys in the United States. Just a little trick that we teach everybody in the chart hackers is set out an alert right below the trend and just call it losing trend, right? So I'll do it with you guys. Add alert, you just right click, add alert, go to the message and just type losing trend. So you can be on the beach, you can be having a beer with your buddies, you're watching the game, your alert goes off, open your phone, just watch it and you know, make that call. If you got to get out, or if it's that stop hunt, typically it lasts for just a few minutes. It's there for like 1 or 2 minutes, and then boom, it goes back up, right? So you'll notice those candle behaviors over time.
Okay, and what time frame do you want the candle close for this one?
I would say 4-hour candle close. That's typically the standard, and that's something I learned from you. So, you know, 2-hour, 4-hour, use your, you know.
Yeah, so guys, it depends how degen you're going. Obviously, if we're looking at swing trades, if we're trying to catch like a big move here, we don't want to waste it on a 30-minute or a 1-hour candle. And remember, the more you zoom out, obviously the bigger the picture is there for you. So that's why on these big swing trades, a 4-hour candle close is great. But if you're playing super high leverage, trying to pick up a shit coin, you know, off a tight area, then you don't necessarily want to ride a 4-hour candle close like on Fartcoin or something like that. It can absolutely rinse you if you are scalping. So just remember what you are playing and how you are doing it. Okay, so there we go, Dave. I'm locked in. Let's talk a couple of things here. Okay, so 𝗵𝗵, you guys know the drill with 𝗵𝗵. Quick one on Brett. Okay, very simple. We'll keep it shitcoin casino. We'll keep it short and sweet. Okay, Brett, we are looking for a bounce on the 4-hour here. Let's just quickly look at our 2 because I saw some interesting divergence. And Jay actually said to me in our WhatsApp group there, I should look at this one. And you can see we've got double bullish divergence there. And the snake eyes are coming. So there might be something short-term coming on Brett. So if you want to have a ride on Brett, your stop is a close below 596. And then your next banger zone for me on Brett, where I think you get quite a decent bounce there. If they do come and drop us, it's from 5.6 to about 5.35. 5.6 to 5.35 is going to be your next big zone. Remember, all these charts, guys, they go straight into chart hackers after the show. Okay, so don't panic. They're all going to be there waiting for you guys, and they'll sort you out. Okay, so Brett, there's your 2 bagging zones. You can see we're looking for a short-term bounce. We don't have to get too aggressive with this thing, and just with a guide, you know, in terms of where we can possibly go if this does bounce. You want to keep it as simple as possible. Call it 695.1 and call it 754. Okay, 695 and 754. Those look like reasonable upside targets if it starts pushing into those zones. Okay, so look for those rejections in those areas. Okay, so that is a wrap there on Brett. Then let's talk 𝗏. So 𝗏, I'm actually setting up on CoinX. Alexotique, well, this is good timing for you, sir. There's 2 zones on 𝗏, and you can see I've highlighted the banger lower down. Now you can see I'm looking at the 2-hour. We've already printed a reversal on the 2-hour here on 𝗏. I want to just look at the 4 and just make sure we are in the right zone. You can already see, even if you're new to TA, you can start seeing the high conviction zones and the medium conviction zones. Okay, that's a medium zone, and this is a high conviction zone, okay, that we have over there. So the big one for me is 𝗏 slightly lower down. So 𝗏 might bounce here. If it does, I'm not, like I said with these other alts, we're not expecting a big move. We could just push up to that VWAP or something and then come back down into something like that. So for me, the big zone for 𝗏, and what I'm trying to do here on CoinX at the moment, is try and grab an entry between 97 and 92.7. Now, the reason 97 is interesting to me is I've got a macro 382 fib pool in this region. So if we do drop into the zone, we might wick into this order block here, and I am looking for a strong bounce. So 97 down to, call it 93. 97 to 93 on 𝗏, and that should give me my nice reversal on the 4-hour as well. Let's see what we get. Hopefully we get a situation where we mess around like that for a while, and then we get a nice big pump. So that's ideally what I want to see, and I've prepped that one on CoinX right now. Okay, so I've set in some orders lower down. You can see here are my pending orders. I've got a buy order at 92, I've got a buy order at 94, and I've got a buy order at 95 waiting for me on CoinX. And yeah, this is 𝗏. Okay, so if you want to have a crack with me on CoinX, that is what I've got going down. And I'm running this one on 10x leverage as well. Okay, so guys, remember, everything I talk about is in the show description. Just click on more, and all these exchanges, everything is sitting down there for you guys. Okay, let's go. Let's talk about farts, because once again, James, I know James loves this. Fartcoin and Popcat. Today it's Fartcoin. Okay, the most bought token by smart money in the last 24 hours. And tomorrow it's probably going to be Popcat again or something like that. So these two are definitely fighting at the moment for, the market share on absolute shit coins. And what I did earlier today was I pulled out my hot zone indicator, and you can see if you zoom in here, it's printing eggplants. It's literally throwing eggplants at me right now. I've got it oversold. I've got a reversal print, and I've got my eggplant, which is generally quite a bullish sign for a zone. In fact, it hasn't let me down yet on Fartcoin. Okay, so I've probably dropped 3 or 4 Fartcoin trades in Chart Hackers once I get the eggplant, and it hasn't let me down. So 2 hour looking for the reversal, and you can see why the zone is interesting to me. Anything down to 132, anything down here makes a lot of sense for me on Fartcoin, looking for some chop and then a nice push in that zone. So that is why I've teed that up there on Blowfin at the moment. You can see my orders, they're still waiting. The second one didn't hit. 134, waiting for that dip, and I've got one at 132. So if they do come a little bit lower, just look for these to ping, and then just build that size. And remember, Fartcoin doesn't have to be a big trade. It can be a really small size, because you get quite big moves out of this thing, when there is momentum. So it doesn't have to be a big position. So what I like to say, small position, big move. Say that again. Small position, big move is what you need. Low leverage. Okay, so just looking for this thing to come to me. And remember, the lower leverage and the smaller your position, the better you sleep at night. Okay, imagine that feeling, being able to sleep at 3 a.m. and not check your phone to see if you've been leaky. Okay, so just a little tip there for you guys on these volatile tokens. Okay, so there you go. There's Fartcoin looking for a bounce. Where can we send this thing? So look, ideally you want to go to about 145, somewhere around there. If we do push higher, guys, you're looking at 151, give or take, those types of areas there, looking for a lower high. So I'm not expecting absolute fireworks here. I'd be more than happy if we did something like that and then drop back down into the banger. And that banger is still this lower band here, and that is at the moment 121 down to 117 as the next big one there for me on Fartcoin. Okay, and Alex Wells, what's giving us explosive moves? Is it Fartcoin? Come on.
My name is Jeff.
Okay. Okay, let's talk ADA, and then I want to get out Dave's short plan. Okay, so why am I trading ADA? Let's chart ADA. Well, the reason being, Chaos loves himself a dino coin. He fucking loves a dino, and he whipped out some ADA, and he dropped that setup in Chart Hackers earlier today. Okay, so there he's giving you a nice write-up, and remember, a whole lot of the team in Chart Hackers write setups like this for you guys. They do the work for you. Remember, the job here in Chart Hackers is we do a lot of the work for you. We do a lot of the watching for you. But most importantly, you're going to learn why and how we do these things so you can do them on your own. Okay. And Chaos has given you a nice explanation here as to why he's doing it. And it's all part about making you guys a better trader. Okay. We're not here to spoon feed you things. We're telling you why we're doing it. Okay. And he's now dropped his Cardano. So if you want to follow that, it's obviously in Hackers in his channel. And you can take a look there. But obviously, my team are pretty good traders. Okay, I like to take their trades, and we've got that one running now at the moment. Okay, so there we go. That's that guy. Shall we talk about some of the shorts we had this week, leading into Dave's short that he's about to give us? Now,
that 𝗬𝗏 short was awesome.
Dude, I mean, okay, Dave caught a fucking ¡𝗏𝗏 short. Disgusting. I mean, that thing, okay, I mean...
Still holding it.
Are you still holding it? Oh my God,
yeah.
bro. That is shocking. But look, let's see what we caught this week. We caught that Saga short. Were you on the show on Thursday? Were you with me?
Oh man, I was there for a little part of it. I was on the road, but yeah, I heard you talking about Saga.
So we got Saga, okay, a nice little banger. And for me, I feel like I closed it too early. This thing rejected. I mean, what did it give us? Yeah,
man, I always tell you got to give it another day. Every time you feel like your gut says to close it, wait one more day, man.
I was telling the hackers that the other day. I said, it's funny. Like, I've got a habit of holding longs too long and shorts too short. And I said, David actually said to me, like if you want to close a short, just wait an extra day. And that definitely is a thing, bro. And in terms of this, a 20% dump, okay, off a simple zone there on Saga. So that was a banger. Then we followed this up with Mask yesterday. I mean, and also I closed this one too early. I took a big move.
I was so jealous.
So I took about a 20% move, but look at this thing. It's now 26% down. And remember, we just keep the TA really simple. So guys, if you want to learn how to short, watch the show and obviously join Chart Hackers. Like these guys are shorting DJs. Okay, and I absolutely love it. And there's something very rewarding about catching a short because the moves are always so fast. Okay, look at that. You ride up the stairs and then you catch that escalator, bang, and you go all the way down. And these shorts are really fun. So yeah, if you wanna sharpen your skills there, come to us. Another one was WLD. We nailed that short off the 200-day MA. And those of you sitting in WLD, I've closed that short because I didn't wait an extra day. Okay, could have waited another day. But in terms of where this thing's going to bounce, 1.23 is what you're going to be looking at. 1.23, guys. That for me is your next bounce zone, realistic big bounce zone on WLD at the moment. Okay, you can see we've got a lot going on in that region. So 1.23, and this actually looks super bearish. Okay, so that tells me, that we might need that reset. And what does this mean? It means that if we do get a bounce in these zones, we're most likely looking at lower highs. I mean, the long and the short of it is we're probably looking like that. Okay, and then we're sending these things to hell, and Ben Cowan is going to be super happy with what he said. Okay, he's going to bring up that tweet in a few months' time. He's going to say, remember I spoke about this. I'm going to get him on my show. Okay, give me a short, please. Give me a short, please, sir.
Yeah, Cowan is a good indicator for us.
He's good. He's good.
Let's short, guys. Let's short.
Okay, give me your short. Give me your short.
All right, so let's do it. So this is not ready yet. And it is going to be coming into a zone very, very soon. Okay, it's Zcash. We've already printed a 12-hour bearish divergence. So I love seeing higher time frame stuff, bearish divergence. And one thing that I have here on the 12-hour, if you guys can see it, is on Chart Prime. We have a bearish order block right here at 5869. So I've already set an alert here. This is the bearish order block. You can see this red dot here on Chart Prime. Simply says there's a lot of people that have their sell orders here. And, if price action does find its way here, definitely going to reject, but we may not even get there, right? If you guys were paying attention to Dylan's Saga short, he shorted it at a value area high, right? So fixed range pull, amazing tool. You guys will see me use it over and over and over again. But I have it here. And you can see that I have an alert called value area high right here, right? So I am anticipating a little Monday pump, and you guys will see that it doesn't matter what altcoin it is or how overbought it is. It will just run with Bitcoin, right? So if Bitcoin pumps 1.5%, whatever the case may be, even though we are printing a bearish divergence, I am anticipating Zcash kind of coming up just a little bit more. Okay, so value area high is where I'll start the position, and if you guys can see here, value area high is at 54.31. So again, set that at 5431, and then once we get into that zone, I will be paying attention to price action. You can already see that once we've come into this zone here, we've had a rejection, pretty big rejection there. Also, I've got a 618 retracement, right? So I've got a fib pulled from the high to the low, and the 618 is coming in right above the value area high and right below the bearish order block here. So it's kind of in the middle, and essentially this is the hot zone. Does that make sense, right? So there's a little bit of a gap here. Could be about a 10% gap, right? So low leverage. I'm probably going to start a 5x position here once we get to the value area high. If we do indeed reject value area high and I see the swing failure pattern, I will add more to my short and crank up the leverage and look to write it down.
What's the number at that value area high there? What's your number?
Value area high is at 54.43.
Okay, I'm going to front run that one a little bit. We're going to start a position there.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's two ways that this can go, guys. Two ways is we reject value area high and we've kind of front run the 618, or we get some kind of stop hunt, right? And then we kind of roll over this way here. Okay.
And then your next big zone,
next
order block
zone is going to be at 5877 here.
58.77. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so just mark this out, guys. A lot of what we do here is preparation and anticipating a move to then take the trade. And it's kind of hard to call it short right now because everything is just really oversold. But you know, we can't keep our eye.
You don't want to go looking for shorts on support, guys. Okay, we want to short the pumps. Okay, we want to long the dumps and we want to short the pumps. And if you do that consistently, you will come out okay.
Yep. So let's take a look at some TP zones right quick. Right, where do we take our profits? I would say right here at 4.711, this 382 fib is going to be a nice little TP zone here. So if you guys are taking notes, TP1 is at 4.711. And if we are going for that 105-100K, we always got to think worst case scenario. You can already see that this is a major hot zone here, right? So we have point of control, we have a 618 retracement hacker zone, we have the 50 DMA, we have the 100 DMA, we have anchored VWAP. I can go on and on and on, right? So a lot of things moving here. And this could essentially be, if we catch that actual 618 and this crazy pullback, we come down here, this could be a swing short essentially for the 40% move in the cards, right? So that's kind of optimistic short view, but again, based on what Bitcoin does and just we need some more data points, is that, you know, once we get to TP1, we could essentially bounce again, right? But I am sticking to my guns on the higher time frame bearish divergence here. And I think we are going to have a nice little reset on this guy. And it's a Dino token, right? I guess I know Zcash is privacy coin or whatever the case may be. And maybe that's what's going on here. Some whales are aping into, you know, kind of keep their stuff discreet here. But, you know, TA says we're going to have a little correction here.
Okay. Nice, bro. There you go, guys. Okay, I'm going to drop you one more setup, and then me and Dave are jumping onto our Chart Hackers Sunday Banger. It's the Sunday Banger me and Dave run every Sunday night. We tee up the week for all the Chart Hackers members. It's a very slow, chilled session. We listen to some music, and we hang out, and we look at setups, and we look at scenarios. We take chart requests, and we take some questions, okay? If you like that sort of stuff, come join us in Hackers, okay? That's going on in the next 30 minutes. We are starting, and we normally run an hour and a half, 2 hours of literally talking shitcoins. So that's always a fun one. And yeah, hype is definitely on fire. Fucking hell. Doc, I can't believe this hype. Okay, I keep looking for an entry and it keeps running away from me. It's we need Panda to get us a
like
hype.
What James says, it's like the OM. They're keeping it propped up.
Yeah. Yeah. So the only guy I know that can get an entry on a fucking massive green candle is Panda, and he's in Hackers. So we're going to need him for a hype entry there. Okay, let me just give you one more. So you guys know I wanted to beat David Tech's bots with one trade. Okay, I just want to prove a point. Okay, the Lord wants to prove a point, and David Tech is running tons of bots. I have no idea if they're profitable or making money right now in his trading account. But I said to the guys, I want to do 1 4-hour reversal trade, and I just want to catch one move. Okay, we'll catch a nice big trade. And there's Panda in the chat who says I'm not in it already. You sicko, bro. Yeah. And for me, Bonk, I'm really trying not to have FOMO. Okay, and I've teed up Bonk again for the 4-hour bullish divergence reversal that I'm looking for, and here it is. Okay, so we're dropping into the 4. So what I want to see is some kind of reversal here and then slam it back down, okay, and give us that bullish divergence on the 4-hour, and that hopefully gives me this bang, okay, into that zone for Bonk. And that is what I'm looking at the moment on this Bonk play. Okay, so here's my orders teed up on WeX, and you can see no changes here. This is still a massive area for me, and I'm locked and loaded here. Once we start getting a sell-off, I might start playing with where these entries are, but right now it's 177, 167, and 160 waiting here for Bonk, and it's anywhere in this region. You can see, guys, I'm telling you, it's going to bounce here. Okay, VWAP, 50-day order blocks, cluster. That's Panda's favorite word as well. And you can see we're going to get some kind of action down there. Okay, so I'll drop this one in Chart Hackers, obviously, for you guys. I'm waiting patiently. Remember, if the market bounces here, we cannot get too euphoric because it might just be a very short-term bounce and they can come and rinse us. Okay, so just remember that and be prepped lower down. And what was that last comment there from, what was that previous? I'm sorry, guys, before the show started, I was trading hype. Paul, bro, you mustn't market buy so big, bro. You're pumping the price. Okay, Dave, I'll see you now in 30 minutes. Okay, thanks for hanging. James, I'll see you
Shortly.
in 15 minutes. Okay. Guys, I love these Sunday shows. Okay, it's great. And I love the Hackers Sunday Banger even more. So I'm jumping in there. Remember that Memorial Day for the first 20 in the show description. If you're not part of Hackers now, you can join. First month, 50% off. The first 20 that use that code in the show description there. Okay. Cool. See you guys later.